Hey, welcome back to Fast Charging with BnB. I'm Brian.
I'm Bear.
Yeah, and we're doing this apparently again, even though we're on episode 54. Hey, you know what would be cool is you guys should smack some like buttons real quick because we don't get very many of those and it makes us very sad.
I cry myself to sleep almost every night.
And
And
sometimes during the live stream.
and I cry myself to sleep during the Lucid earnings call because it was just a little lacking of excitement, real excitement.
Well, good thing there's no news this week.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that almost all electric vehicles should qualify for the US EV tax credit with the new Congress bill?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not
I'm not sure
because
if it's true.
I'm not sure if it's true either, and I'm not sure that it's going to actually pass. The way the current one is set up, it kind of points everyone in the direction of build the cars here and let us prosper in multiple ways from it. But this is talking about, and it doesn't go into a lot of details about Hyundai getting the tax credits because they're building a factory out here. But it doesn't say what happens if they don't build a factory. If they change their mind and go, well, we're going to keep making them here, and thanks for the tax credit, or if they have a time limit to get this factory up and going, or like a minimum amount of cars that they have to push out of that factory, because they could just build a small factory that just puts out enough to make them qualify. You know what I mean?
The crazy thing is, if you're giving 7,500 for every new EV, that is a lot of, I mean, that's $1 trillion, man. That's because the idea is EVs will get to 25% pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking times 5 million. Oh, come on, man. That's a lot of money.
This goes on for 10 years, though supposedly it gets harder and harder to qualify for it, though it's very hard to qualify right now. Um, but as time goes on with the where you're sourcing your minerals are going to, it's going to increase. So it will get harder, and not sure if it'll make a difference. If I don't know if some of these companies are going to be like, well, we were at 70% last year to get to 80%. It's going to cost us $1 billion. It's not going to make that much of a difference to them.
But at that point, it won't need to because there'll be enough adoption. But the good news is, and I think you'll agree with me on this segue, everybody's increasing their EV incentives.
Oh, everybody except the ones that aren't and are actually removing them, like Sweden.
Mm. Without warning, it's gone.
Yeah,
Effective tomorrow, November 8th, the government will no longer incentivize the purchase of EVs. And, Germany is diminishing their EV credit as well. Yeah.
yeah, and this
The
was
adoption
this
has
is
gotten so high that it doesn't necessarily make sense.
yeah, this was another $7,000 credit, so it's pretty significant. So I guess if they're good, they're good. I mean, if I was in the government and was throwing out $7,000 on every single car and didn't need to, and then maybe it's time to stop that. It is as much as I like it, and I will take advantage of all of these tax breaks that are out there for the EVs. I still don't think it's the best use of money, um, and I probably never will. But you put it out there, I am going to take it.
And
And
6 to 7 thousand is a lot of money.
yeah, Mark just said ban all subsidies. He's on board. He knows what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
I'm of two minds. I can absolutely see both sides. Um,
oh, I see
I
both
think,
sides. I definitely
yeah,
see it.
yeah. But early on, incentives are helpful, but these are big. But whatever, whatever. Uh, Anybody got any new EVs coming out?
New EVs, yeah.
I've got Polestar as my next link, not you.
No, I got reliable DC
Oh yeah, we
charging.
can do that.
Okay, sorry.
Whoops, a doodle.
All right.
Hmm. Did I lose it? Where the heck did I put it?
It's
Go
probably
on.
probably where I lost that other one. Can
Hmm.
electric vehicle owners rely on DC fast charging? And in this article from Consumer Reports, they compared a bunch of different EVs and how they charge and how fast they charged. And I'll be honest with you, I think they missed the boat on this. They took the best case scenarios of charging four different EVs and said which one did it the best. And they also looked at it at a really strange angle where they said some of these cars charge faster than the others, not taking into account that some of them have larger battery packs. So, which is kind of a weird way to look at it, because if a car like the Model Y takes longer than the Ford Mustang, well, it didn't take longer than the Ford Mustang, but longer than, let's say, the Hyundai, maybe that has something to do with the fact that the battery is bigger. They Some of the important things that they missed on this is that they're stating what the claimed max kilowatts are and how close they got to it. Well, what really matters is the fact that a Hyundai and a Tesla can charge almost twice as fast as a Mustang and an ID4. Those are actually pretty important things when you're charging at a DC charging station, because you've got a max of 115 on the Mustang, 235 on a Hyundai. Well, which would you rather be charging in when you're sitting at a DC?
Of course, the bigger one is better.
Yeah, the bigger one is
And what
better.
does the Bolt charge at?
The Bolt is 50 kilowatts.
Yeah.
And that is one of the main reasons I don't want to add a Bolt to my fleet, is because that's going to take away from the whole renter experience where they have to spend 2 hours charging a car on a DC fast charger.
Right. They need to return it in 3 hours, and it's going to take 2.5 to get enough juice to get across town.
And that's on a fast charger. So
Mhm.
that's just not acceptable to me. One of the things that they noted was that the Model Y, while taking longer to charge up, uh, got more miles charged. It's like, okay, aren't you getting it? There's a reason, because it's a bit bigger battery pack. So they kind of missed a couple of things there. That I still don't think these are EV people that are doing these tests.
You and I were saying a while back, the new EV incentives should be based more on efficiency than on pack size or anything else. Because if you've got a Hummer that's got a kilowatt hour range equivalent of like 40 miles a gallon, you're really not doing a lot to save the planet.
I don't think necessarily the idea is to save the planet on that. The idea is the Hummer is a specialty niche vehicle. And remember 20 years ago when they were selling those Hummers, their EPA was 11 miles per gallon.
Oh,
And,
I don't think you could get 11.
well,
I think that's what the test cycle said.
yeah, I said the EPA range was 11.
Right.
So now you have pretty much the same vehicle as far as looks. It's very similar, um, but you got to think, if it's getting 40 equivalent, that's actually pretty good for an
For
obnoxious
what it is.
vehicle. Yeah,
And I think it's actually a little higher than 40. It might
yeah,
be 44 or something, but
but yeah, when I get mine, I'm gonna probably drive that around quite a bit. I just hope it's not in white.
it's going to be in white. I'm
It's
going to
gonna,
tell you that right now.
yeah. And if we
Should we
get to
talk
our
about the Pulse?
yeah, and if we get to our last article, we'll show another white one.
Yeah, we will. I took some pics of the upcoming Polestar Roadster this weekend. I didn't. This was found on Reddit, obviously. What do you think of that?
I think it's white. Oh,
Eh,
EVs only come in white. Um,
the headlights look like the Taycan.
yeah, I think it's a cool looking car. As with any Polestar, I worry about fitting into it because of their horrible cockpit layout. Did you know that the Polestar 2 has a transmission tunnel in the back seat?
No.
Fact. Fact. There is a transmission tunnel in the back seat, taking away from your footroom, and then it has, my complaint about the Polestar is the enormous console in the center where your knees are hitting it. But I was looking at it one day because I was just so frustrated with that console, and I follow it to the back, and I realized that they have a transmission tunnel. I don't know if they have extra batteries stored in there, or a dehumidifier, or I don't know, but it seemed kind of pointless to me.
Did you know that Polestar is getting a $1.6 billion boost from Volvo and other big stakeholder?
Yeah, that's and it's a loan also. So it's not diluting the company at all, but it is going to be a loan, and they're going to use this, I believe, to make their future products that they like we just saw. So that's
But
good
this
for
is,
them.
and this to me is a non-issue. This is mildly good news, but mostly no news. Yeah, they need a little bit of money, and they don't seem like a bad investment for Volvo and Geely.
Hmm.
This is gonna be fine.
Right.
I'm not worried about it. But
Maybe.
there's some
Go
price
ahead.
cuts going around.
Yes, over in China, they are
Yeah.
lowering the prices out in China to what, stay more competitive, or what do you think?
Yes, it is absolutely to stay more competitive. They can make the cars, they can sell the cars. They'd like to sell more of them, so they reduce the price by 5 to 9%, and then just today or yesterday announced a slightly larger decrease to cover some change in the tax incentive, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's gone down. So that's two price cuts this in the last couple weeks, and the surge in demand has been so big that it briefly crashed the site. And then also, apparently, we're getting reports that people who had reservations for other cars are saying, you know what? I'd rather spend just a tiny bit more and get the car I actually want.
That's pretty good. Pretty good news for Tesla. And I hope to see those tax cuts, or I'm sorry, those price cuts, head over the other side of the Pacific and
Well,
to us.
Samuel said, hopefully they'll drop the price in other countries too. And we do know in Germany that that's something that they have done. And as these factories ramp, even if demand remains steady, that means they're producing more. They'll have to have a significant increase in demand to maintain these high prices. And as the factories ramp, the profitability increases. So I believe these price cuts should come gradually, eventually, who knows?
I think that they will come. I
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I don't think Tesla's main goal is to just charge as much as they can. They've always talked about the ultimate goal is to get everyone into EVs, and but just still make a profit. And the fact that their profit margin is so high that it makes Toyota look like a pre-production car company.
Tesla earns 8 times more profit per car than Toyota.
That is craziness. That is a crazy amount of money. But I said this last week. It shows that Tesla can cut back on their margin and share that a little bit. I'm not saying that they have to or they should, and I think they use a lot of that money that they make and they put it right back into the factories and creating new factories and new jobs, and they reinvest that money a lot. But it would be nice to see a couple thousand here, just a little something, just a little salt and pepper on the dinner.
Yeah. And as wait times decrease, I believe that is absolutely what we will see because they do have the margin. They just love keeping them fat.
Yeah, and they're doing a really good job of that. There's no question about it because people are still buying them, which begs the other question of why lower it when you have a 1 year back order.
Why indeed? Why indeed? What do you have next?
Ah, well, we have other car companies just not raising
Going
prices, but just tricking
going the
you.
other direction. The
Yeah,
other direction.
with a little bit of a trick by like, let's just ditch the lowest end model, which was called the Light, which I think that they have the Light, the Wind, and then the GT version of this car, which is no correlation to each other at all.
I don't imagine they sold very many of these base models. Why would you when you have a backlog and
Hmm.
you can get a better margin on a higher trim? But we saw the pricing increase on the Lightning, um, but and they also sold. I don't know if I've ever seen a base model Lightning that was made. Do you know about that?
I have.
Oh wow.
I have. It was a demo at a dealership, and it was 50 Shades of Awful, actually, because it looked like an F-150 work truck, like an XL model, which is the low end model. Uh, Rubber mats for the carpet. Uh, all the trim was as cheap as possible. So it was not. You didn't look at it and go, "Wow." You look at it and go, "This looks like a cheap work truck." And then it's like, "Oh yeah, and it's electric." But it also had like 200 miles or 210 miles of range, and it was fully charged. Something like it's somewhere around that. So for a demo model, it was did not fill me with enthusiasm. Now, if you put that into a platinum or a limited version, it would have been decked out, would have been $100,000, but it would have looked great. But no, it was the base model, but it was the demo.
Do you think you could even make an electric pickup truck for under 39,000?
Um, well, Tesla said they could with the Cybertruck, but then there's another company who thinks they can do it for a lot cheaper than that.
So Geely is a big car company in China, and they're taking orders for its RD6 electric that says you can build them and sell them for under 25,000. If that's the truck, boy, I don't think you can build that for 25,000. If you can, my gosh, that'd be wow. Even with the even with the chicken tax on imported pickups, this would still be a heck of a bargain.
Yeah, it would be. They say it's a little bit bigger than the Maverick, the Ford Maverick, which is pretty small as far as trucks go. Probably bigger than the Honda Ridgeline, though I hate to call that a truck. It looked like they also had quite a few different levels. I bet if you got this thing fully decked out, you're going to be sitting at $50,000 because they had
Sure.
quite a few options in there. Single motor, dual motor, then they had three different batteries. Um, Again, the dehumidifiers, I think, in the back seat because everybody needs that. But range goes from 217 to 380, which is 380. That's pretty good.
And the base model is 200 horsepower, which in the era of electric vehicles sounds pretty anemic, but that's still, even going back 5, 10 years, that's a lot of horsepower.
Yes, it is. Did you read the last little paragraph on this about this
Yeah.
truck?
Let's take a look. Uh, the last big one, or the last one?
Starts with what's a bit
Looking at sales
what's a bit
over.
strange about Geely making efforts to build pickups is that they're banned on most urban roads in China. They're considered farm implements, and only
Huh.
2% of total sales in China are for pickup trucks.
Then who is this for?
Oh, I think it's for anybody but China. But
Yeah.
but let me tell you something. Going back up to that picture, that's not a farm implement.
No, and it does look like a Ridgeline.
Yeah, I I
Hmm.
I would bet that it's probably got more capacity than a Ridgeline. Maybe I don't know, but I'm not a big fan of the Ridgeline because it is an Accord with it that got like customized on some show, and then they said, "Oh, we're gonna make this now." It's like
Anybody else trying to make cheap cars?
me. Um,
Honda
yeah.
and GM are working on electric cars under 30,000, or so they say, with their cleverly titled AEV program, Affordable Electric Vehicle.
Oh
So well
gosh.
played, you guys. Ah, but this is still super early days, and I fear that, like with a lot of GM deals, they're kind of leaning on each other, thinking the other guy's gonna do the work.
Nikola.
And well, and Lordstown, I mean, yeah, GM is, yeah, but the Nikola one was pretty crazy. They both thought the other guy was going to be doing all the work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was that was real leadership, is what that was.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary, for all the leading you have done. Fortunately, and then of course Honda's got a plan for a solid state powered EV by the end of the decade. Why not skip straight to cold fusion, you guys?
Because
If
I won't sell them the rights. I've already developed it.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
keep it in my fridge.
mm-hmm,
It's cold.
mm-hmm. How you keep it fresh?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Uh, they really, if you can get an effective solid state battery, it's going to be great. Uh, it can't leave the lab.
And then if it does, it can't be produced.
Right. That's the problem with all these. So, yeah, we'll see. It, and solid state is becoming increasingly more of a buzzword where I'm starting to think that this is just a dry electrolyte, which
Hmm.
is if that's the case, then Tesla's also working on a solid state battery, but all right. Any of the Honda news?
Yeah, Honda Prelude could return as the electric rival to the Toyota GR86. So the Honda, I always liked that Prelude. Well, yeah, I did. All versions of it. I always thought they were cool looking. They looked sporty. They weren't very fast because it was the 80s and 90s. You know, nothing's fast compared to what we have now. But the cars had a good legacy.
Yeah. And this reminds me a lot of the um, Nissan of the GTR.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. But if, guys, great. Hey, could you do me a favor and build it?
Oh, you mean that's not real?
It's such a pretty photograph.
Oh, you should see the second one. The second one is
Oh,
definitely
mm-hmm, that's real.
a concept covered by sheets.
Mm-hmm. The
What's the
finest renders Fiverr can buy.
Yeah, a render covered by sheets. That is funny.
Toyota is rebooting their electric strategy.
Yeah, they're going to probably flip flop back and forth another 7 times before they realize that it's too late. Whatever decision that they made, they need to make their decision and stick with it. And their decision obviously needs not to be what they're currently on, and they need to go all in on the EVs because I really think if they focused a little bit better on this, they could really come out with something better than the Buzz Forks.
BuzzForks is not a great car. So this article keeps mentioning the $38 billion electrification plan from 2021. And this new plan is a $70 billion plan over the next 9 years. I'm not sure if that's not in this article, but it is what I have read elsewhere. 70 billion over 9 years is a substantial amount of money. And hopefully it is the right amount of money and it goes in the right place.
Yeah,
Because if it does, you're going to survive. And if it doesn't, but either way, that is a massive, massive hit to the bottom line.
yeah. And by the way, 70 billion spread over any amount of years is a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the kind of thing where even the California Powerball winner cannot help you, cannot cover the interest.
yeah. They really need to see something a little bit more focused because I'm just surprised they seem so scatterbrained on this.
Well, I like how this photo they used is a rainbow going from most reasonable to least reasonable.
Yeah, it
It's
kind of
like a
is.
descent into madness.
What is that thing on the end? Because it looks like a toy.
It's a people mover? I don't know.
I think it's a bread box.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, a wallet? I'm not sure. Yeah. So there's a great story on Business Insider this week that got a lot of attention on social media. Electric cars won't just solve tailpipe emissions, they may even strengthen the US power grid.
That's what the
So there
experts
was,
say.
yeah, well, and so some of the criticisms I heard was, oh, if the experts are saying it, I'm not going to listen. Well, that's ridiculous, first of all. Uh, well, how can drawing more power from the grid make the grid stronger? Do you know, Bear?
Storage.
Storage. Storage. And then, of course, the talking points appeared very coordinated because they all were the same. And all of it was it's going to destroy your battery. Why would I let them use my battery when it's only going to last me a few years anyway? The answer is it's not going to last you a few years. It's going to outlast the vehicle. Modern batteries should outlast the vehicle. It's not like a motor in a car where it can unpredictably simply fail.
Right.
If batteries are going to simply fail, it would typically happen under warranty. And other than that, what you get is a slow, steady degradation. Do you know how much they're paying per kilowatt hour to pull power from your battery in California?
I do not know how much.
$2 a kilowatt hour.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So you're paying about 10 to 14 cents to fill your pack, and they'll buy it back from you at $2 because it's still cheaper than firing up the peaker plant. So do some quick math there. Let's say you've got a 100 kilowatt hour battery, something nice and big, and let's say they use it 1,000 times. That's 200 grand they're giving you for 1,000 cycles, and your battery's going to last more at 1,000 cycles. You should still have 70% capacity. They will
And
buy your car 3 times over.
well, yeah, you could actually replace your battery.
You could buy a car and just leave it in the garage for this purpose. Sell it with 0 miles. Okay, 9.
Well, the question is how often will they need to buy the $2 kilowatt?
Remains to be seen. Right now, the answer is seldom. They've only done it a couple times, and they told you in advance when it was going to happen, so you could watch it happen. But it's only during peak times. They don't use it unless it's needed. And really, they'll need a lot more of them capable of hooking up to the grid before this can replace a significant number of power plants.
Now,
But it's also using your home storage, which is less likely to be fully cycled very often, meaning they'll be getting longer life anyway.
so this would not work for a Tesla. Is that correct?
Correct. It would
Okay.
work for a Ford Lightning, and one of
Uh,
the big criticisms, oh, no car company would ever stand behind this, knowing that their battery's going to. Ford has already signed up for virtual power plant programs, so we know that's incorrect. And the reason Teslas don't is because it requires substantially more chips in the inverter system
okay.
to do bidirectional charging.
Okay. Yeah. The Hyundai has that. There is an option on the charging screen to do vehicle to grid.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when Tesla makes that switch, you can just start shutting down power plants,
Hmm.
peaker plants anyway.
Well, you wouldn't have like when the Texas had the big ice storm on Valentine's Day last year. A lot of people were blaming solar because it wouldn't work because the windmills were frozen, which wasn't true. But the reality was, if they had battery backups, they wouldn't have had the problems that they had. So this, in a sense, could actually replace the need for the battery backups if you had enough cars that were vehicle to grid. And you wouldn't, like Australia's got their hundreds of millions of dollars of battery packs out in the desert.
Mega.
Yeah, they're mega
Well,
packs. This
yeah, and that's
at
yep.
the very least, it would reduce the need to have as many.
Well, and it's diversification. So if you've got a bunch of Ford Lightnings, which have tremendously large batteries, and you've got some power walls, and you've got mega packs, Jason points out the Lathrop plant is going to fill that need before we really get vehicle to grid. Well, different utilities, different needs, different capacity. If your vehicle has that capacity, like the Ford Lightning does, make it available. Well, I don't want to be part of this program. Great, it's optional. You're
Yeah.
not required to be part of it.
Don't.
Yeah, the talking points were pants on head ridiculous.
Aren't they
So,
usually?
well, and they were very coordinated. It was magical how all these accounts that never discuss anything about electric vehicles suddenly all had the same epiphany on the same day.
So damn bots.
Yeah. Well, we know that paid influencers and media manipulators are a real thing. It is an established profession. To pretend that they don't exist is ridiculous.
Does that job pay well?
It can't. I don't know.
Because, I mean, I would do it if it paid well, but
Right? Well, and it only takes 1 or 2 people to run 40 of these accounts.
that's true too. Okay, so I could make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I need several alter egos.
The one you have right now is not working. I'm just going to tell you that.
Oh, well, that's a fact. Uh,
Yeah.
Speaking of alter egos, I think the Lucid Air Pure has an alter ego. Uh, One that costs $70,000 and then one that costs $89,000.
Yeah. That's its evil twin.
Yeah. So the price of the Lucids went up earlier this year, and it looks like they are going up again uh, because they're releasing them at $89,000. I reserved one back in April that started around 70,000 ish, and after very few options, already got up to 84,000. So, in the options were like dual motor, which I think is kind of nice to have, um, and rims and some very small stuff that added up very quickly. So I think if I was to order the same car right now, I'd be looking at over $100,000, which is the entry level car for a Lucid Air.
480 horsepower. It's a heavy, heavy vehicle. I mean, 480 is still very respectable,
Mm-hmm.
but at 90 grand?
Yeah, and that's without a lot of the amenities that you might get in the GT or the Touring, because again, it's the entry level. It's not like a Model S where everything you get, like in a Plaid, is in the long range. It's the same car except for the power and the brakes and a couple very small things. There's a lot of features that you may not see in a base Air Pure than that you would see in a GT. So, and it's going to cost you. You're not going to get out of there under 100 grand for this car.
No. Well, tax alone will get you, tax and licensing alone will get you over that.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think the second motor was like 6 grand. The paint was probably just under 1,000. I said the wheels were like 1,500. That small things like that just drove that price right up, and
Plain
as it will even
ridiculous.
more. So,
Did you ever did you really think the 69,000 was coming?
well, technically, I got that. That's the base
Are they going to
price.
deliver it at that price?
Yeah, my order's still good.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
this is for new orders.
yeah, this is new orders.
Okay. Well, that's not as bad.
True, true. I
Hmm.
mean, keep in mind the Model S earlier this year had two price increases of $5,000 each. It went up 10 grand within, I think, like 2 or 3 months. It was all while I had ordered it, so I got in at the right time. I ordered it. The price went up 5 grand. Tesla didn't raise the price on me. Then it went up another 5 grand. My price still stayed the same, so I had instant equity in the car when it
Well, the
was
good news
delivered.
with Lucid is with all these price increases, I imagine their financials are rock solid.
They're not that bad. I know you're being snarky.
Oh, did you cover this today?
Oh yeah, we did a little earnings thing earlier today where
Let's hear it.
I thought everyone was going to from that live stream was going to come here and was going to be on the watching the show today, but I don't know where they went because we had several hundred people watching the earnings report. Um, the earnings report was nothing exciting at all. I didn't really get anything new out of it. Their revenue was less than expected because they have over 1,000 cars sitting in Casa Grande waiting for delivery. They have at least $139 million worth of inventory in that parking lot waiting for delivery. So that's something that obviously needs to happen. They reiterated their production guidance, which is 6 to 7 thousand cars, though they would not give guidance on deliveries. They would only give guidance on cars. They will produce 6 to 7 thousand cars. I don't know where they're going to be putting them all. Those parking lots are going to be full. Maybe that's why they're paving some of the parking lots right now. They need more space. So the deliveries are going to be short, well short of the 6 to 7 thousand. In typical Lucid fashion, they were very vague on a lot of questions that were asked to them. They touched on why they're not getting them out, saying that they're still in a learning process on how to deliver cars. So that was one of their explanations. They were asked about why don't you set up the train yard, because there's a train that literally meets the Lucid factory or the property line. So it'd just be a quick extension, and they could have rail cars in there getting loaded. They said they're talking to different people about what they can do, but they would not say whether or not they wouldn't commit to a railroad. They wouldn't commit against the railroad. They're just very non-committal. They only said the things that they wanted to say, as usual.
And the thing with the railroad, I was going to say, is it's entirely possible that that particular line is owned by someone who would not be agreeable to allowing a stub there. But if that's the case, wouldn't they just say so? So I think it's that they either haven't looked into it or have looked into it and do not wish to comment because there's nothing developing.
Yeah, I would say that because there's nothing developing. I don't think Casa Grande would have any problems doing the permits that they need to. I know their future plans, the site plans show that they are going to use that railway stub, that spur. So they had plans to use it in the future. I think their money would be better spent on getting a rail spur than developing different versions of the Lucid Air, like the Sapphire and things like that. I think,
Yeah.
or I, the Stealth, because they said they put a decent amount of money into the R&D for the Sapphire and for the Stealth. I'm not sure they're ever going to see that money again. The Sapphire is going to be very limited edition. They were asked if it was a limited edition, if they were going to cap the production on the Sapphire. They didn't answer that question either. You know how much that car costs, right? The Sapphire version,
No.
$249,000.
Great. Great. You
Yeah,
don't need to sell very many.
yeah, they do need to sell very many because
Yeah.
of there's a lot of changes from the Sapphire besides the paint color. There's like some I don't know 150 200 different changes that they did on the car to make it faster, sleeker, and whatnot. And
More luxurious too, right?
I'm not sure if yeah, probably a little bit on that side, but it's just a whole lot of money that was put into that. And how many are they going to sell at that price point? 1,000 a year? If they
Yeah.
sell more than that, great. I'm just not sure I see it. And
Yeah. That's a lot of R&D money for that to try and divide by not very many units.
right, and that's obviously my point. Uh, is exactly that. So put your put your research and development into a rail spur. You know,
Or moving down market where we know there are buyers.
yeah, yes.
Ridiculous. Mhm. So a lot of people have been looking forward to the R-type versions of the ID3,
How,
which is unfortunate.
how many people?
Oh, lots. The R-types are real popular. But no, no, sir. Negatory good buddy. Volkswagen will not be releasing one because it's just not sporty enough.
Agreed with it not being sporty enough. I can agree with you more on that. How is the ID3 doing as far as sales go?
I don't recall. I don't recall. Maybe someone in the comments can check and let us know. I want to say it was doing well, probably better in the European market than here.
I
And this is
don't
a translated article, so uh,
I don't see them here.
I don't see it. Yeah.
No, I don't see them here. I don't see the
Oh, oh yeah.
ID3
Oh, I
here.
got
Yeah.
you. Yeah. I don't drive as much as you, but I don't see them either. I also don't see the Taycan, and we don't have it up. We figured we had enough stories already. The Taycan has sold 100,000 now.
Yeah. That's that's pretty good. When did they start producing them?
What?
When did they start producing the Taycan?
Oh gosh, about a year, I think, year and a half. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
it has to be longer than that, right?
Oh, does it? It was. Oh yeah, you're right. It came out when they first started working on the Plaid,
Okay.
because the Plaid S had to reclaim Nürburgring for whatever reason. The Yeah, and they're making a lot of, considering how expensive the car is and how many they've made, they're really making a lot of bigger companies who should be more successful look really bad,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is
So
weird because I really thought Mary was leading, and I'm very disappointed.
Speaking of things that she didn't lead on, so I often talk about my car spotting,
Yes.
and you just brought it up about not seeing the Taycans. I spotted a Nikola Tre on the road,
Oh,
probably 70 miles from the factory. Just randomly drove in the other direction past me, and then about 10 minutes later, Electromechanica Solo driving down the freeway.
wow.
Yeah, 60 miles per hour. I know that because I had to slow down to take a couple pictures of him, and he was just moving along.
Huh.
I thought that I could go faster than that, and I don't know why the guy wasn't.
Was it loaded or unloaded? Did it have a trailer?
Oh,
Oh, the Solo. Oh, I thought you meant the.
no,
Oh
this.
no, my wife got to see the Solo in person the other day. They've got a showroom in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got two of them in the garage there. So she oh, those are cute. I like that. I'm like, yeah. How many seats do you want? She's like, what? One? No, no. It's got the same seating capacity as a pogo stick.
A unicycle, a
That's
bar stool,
what they should call it.
a lawn chair.
Mm,
All right,
mm.
guess that was
Uh,
funnier in my head.
a lawn chair. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know that Subaru has no plans to build EVs in the US? Can't match McDonald's wages.
Yeah, I read this article a couple of days ago. It cracked me up, and then I realized how sad that was. So,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, but
I still
I don't
can't
know
get
how.
the slice of cheese on the burger when I go to McDonald's, and these guys are now making $40,000 a year, and they can't place a piece of cheese on the meat square.
Was that important? It's within spec.
No, it was not within spec. If I was the secret inspector, they would have failed.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. So you know the Subaru is this vehicle that you see is the Subaru version of the Buzzforks.
I was gonna say, why does it have the plastic fender thing going on?
Finished fenders.
The unfinished fender.
Yeah, it's rebadged. It's
Oh, it's like a sweat equity thing where you have to paint your car, so and it costs you less.
yeah, it's an IKEA bookshelf. It comes in a flat pack.
Yeah, my first house was sweat equity. We had to paint the inside of the house, and they took thousands of dollars off the price of the house. And so that's what this is. It's a sweat equity car. You have to finish painting it.
Subaru boss acknowledged that the risk that this may have negative consequences on sales numbers, especially since the demand for EVs has been going up in the US. Well, that's weird. However, he said he is confident that won't happen in the near future, pointing to the 631,000 vehicles it expects to sell by the end of the year, a 25% increase over last year when I'm confident their numbers were not very good. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That
I don't know how serious Subaru is about moving into the future.
So how are these other car manufacturers hiring in people and building cars?
By paying wages, I believe.
Well, that sounds reasonable to pay someone for work. Um,
I don't buy the excuse. Uh, Considering other car companies like VW and Tesla and Mercedes and BMW, they pay some of the highest wages in the world, and they are all still profitable.
hmm Maybe
So I don't buy it.
that's what happens when you design a car with plastic fenders.
I just think they don't have the $8 billion it would take to build a factory and get it running in the US.
Yeah. Do the wheels fall off the Subarus too?
It's got to. It's coming from the same plant.
So
But again,
they do.
the best wheel is no wheel. As a reminder, we are simulcasting on Bears Workshop and My Tesla Weekend, My Tesla Live, the second channel of My Tesla Weekend. I say that even though I imagine everyone here knows it.
All two of you. No, we've got
I'm
more
at
than that.
30. I'm at 30.
I'm at 26. I'm shameful. I just got off a live stream with 200 plus people.
Plus,
Yeah,
well, plus.
yeah. And I asked every single one of them to come visit. And we got
But
Jay.
did you ask them by name?
No, by social security number.
Uh-huh.
What do you,
Anybody, but you know, no, there are no foreign countries investing in U.S. plants, are there?
no, Foxconn.
What?
Foxconn is investing another $170 million into Lordstown Motors. I think what they're actually doing is
Interesting.
they're buying Lordstown out very slowly.
By piece.
And eventually they're going to be like, well, Lordstown had a little bit of a base and we're kind of going through it because they're going to end up owning that factory.
It's well, once the deal is complete, Foxconn will hold all of their outstanding preferred stock and 18% of the common stock.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big stake.
Yeah. And which means they own a large amount of the factory that they got fairly cheap, didn't they?
Wasn't this the old Mitsubishi factory that they got for like $12 million? No, that's Rivian, I'm thinking.
I think this is GM.
Hmm.
I think.
Oh, yeah, I think it is GM. If MD Hofste's in here, he might know. It was all these factories that these guys were able to hermit crab into. They got great deals on. But again, I just cannot believe Lordstown is still alive. Maybe they'll make it. I think Foxconn has. They don't have automotive core competency, but they do know manufacturing.
They do.
Maybe they can make it work. Digital Blade saying it was indeed a GM plant. So
Well,
yeah,
that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It
well, they
really
need the
is.
money.
Yeah.
So without it, I think they would be in in real danger. So it's a good thing. Oh gosh. Yeah. Even after receiving a $400 million lifeline from a hedge fund managed by investment firm Yorkville Advisors, Lordstown had it struggled, including losing GM as an investor. And what's funny is, imagine this, Lordstown makes it after GM got out. Um, hmm, hmm, whatever.
What do you got next? Because I
I've got Tesla Semi next.
okay. All
Looks like
right.
a beast on the freeway. And if JJ's watching, I didn't pick this story, by the way.
Yeah, I, 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 I don't even know why I picked it because honestly, it doesn't look like a beast. Um,
It's like it doesn't even have the fairing on it. It looks incomplete.
right. It looks like it got chopped in half. Um, and then there's another article in here uh, that talks about the Tesla ripping through the road with astonishing acceleration. I don't know if you saw that video last week. It was just a Tesla Semi with a trailer on it taking off, and it did not seem like it was
Ripping.
ripping. And also, we don't know if that trailer was empty or loaded. If it was loaded, hey, yeah, okay, it was doing pretty good for a semi, but we don't know that.
So
Um,
the one in this ripping picture appears to be not the day cab version, but the sleeper cab version. I think they're going into production with first.
yeah,
I believe the other one the first one, whoops, was the one that showed the uh yeah, that's just a day cab in that first picture.
yes, and
So
so yeah, they're still talking about delivering these a bunch by the end of the year. That'll be great if they can do it. Great for Tesla. Great for getting more EVs on the road. Uh, and we'll see how the final price on this lands because I still don't believe that it's going to land where they said it was.
nowhere close is my guess. I would be surprised. I would be surprised if it's less than 100,000 over the promised price. What do you think? Because there's these huge incentives on them now. So why give away trucks for free?
Right. I is there does the Tesla store still have the semi on there?
I believe it does.
Do they have a price?
Everyone has a price, my friend. No, I don't think the price is listed.
Yeah, it is. I don't think it is either. Let's see, 0 to 60 in 20 seconds, less than 2 kilowatts per mile, which is not a good ratio compared to the cars, because
Well,
just not at all in a 500-mile range estimated. Uh, I mean, I'm all for it. Build it if you can. Last time I had looked at this, it was they did. You could still make a reservation for them, but they do not have the price on there any longer. You can only get updates. So
Jeff said that in the gift shop, they did have a small model of the truck. So that means they're in production, but just on at a very small scale, at like a 1/12 scale.
in that case, I think I personally own like 10 Lucids.
But they can ramp that scale. Pretty soon they'll be, the size of a red wagon, and then they'll be, the
Yeah.
size of a small car.
You think Elon Musk comes in and goes, "All right, I want you to double in size. And I'll be back in a week." And then he comes back in a week and says, "Now double it in size again."
It looks good, but I feel like we could make it bigger.
Yeah,
Double it.
double it.
Ah. Jason points out those are fully loaded numbers, the
Yes,
acceleration and
yes,
the
they are.
efficiency and all that. Yeah. But again, we shall see. We shall see.
I
It's almost
I know from my ride in the Nikola tray that with no trailer on it, the acceleration surprised the crap out of me. And I'm sure it's the same way with the Tesla Semi. I don't see any reason for either one of them to be different.
I
Uh,
imagine the horsepower and the torque are comparable.
mhm.
I mean, they're performing the same job. When I interviewed Sandy last week, week before, I asked him about the Nikola, of course, because I'm loyal to my viewer who demands it, and
Viewer.
he said, I have never seen a Class A truck do a burnout.
hmm
And I would adjust that and say I have, but only ones that were re-geared as hot rods,
Well,
not a
yeah,
stock one.
yeah.
You can make anything burn rubber if you change out all the parts. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see.
Oh, absolutely. All right. You know what that leaves us with?
That leaves us with nothing but good news.
The death of a Hummer.
Well, so first of all, they're bulletproof, they're tanks, and the fact that they weigh 9,000 pounds definitely doesn't mean that even the beefiest suspension is at serious risk of failure when you crash them into a ditch.
Yeah. Don't do this at home, please. Uh, as we discussed earlier, it's a white Hummer. They only come in white. And we have this YouTuber who thought he was just having fun and did not see a ditch because he was paying more attention to recording the video, and his passenger yelled about the ditch, and he went right into it. It was about a 5 foot drop and then back up, kind of U-shaped. He went right into it, and he broke numerous parts on the vehicle. Radiator up front, looks like the axle in the back. Uh, Tore up the side of the truck also. So really, really not a good move. Not something I would recommend. I don't know if he was a big time YouTuber or not, um, but I bet he's going to get a bunch of subscribers after this. Maybe that was his goal.
Yeah, let the insurance pay for your subscribers. Um, no, if you're going to go off-roading in an EV, there's only one clear choice. The Lucid. For those who don't know, there was a video not long ago in Arizona.
I had nothing to
Bear
do with
even,
it.
Bear even got to meet the gentleman later, I think.
No, before.
Didn't you? Oh, you met him before?
Yes.
Who rented a Lucid and was like, off-road, baby, let's do this. And uh and I could just watching the video, you could just feel Turo's stock plummeting.
Yeah. See, what this guy did with the Hummer is why I wouldn't do that with the Lucid,
Right.
because you just don't know. I mean, I don't think he like test drove either the Lucid guy or the Hummer guy. It's Lucid Air is his name. I don't think Lucid Air test drove the area that he was driving on. If there was a dip like that, even half of that with that Air GT, it it would have destroyed that car. Just like it wouldn't have taken much to do to the Lucid what it took a lot to do to that Hummer. So
Well, and the title of the video is "I totaled it," and just looking at that damage, I wouldn't be surprised. I
well,
wouldn't be surprised.
if he didn't total it, he's not getting it back for a very long time.
Yeah,
Be-
yeah,
because of how long it'll take to get all the parts. He literally is going and picking up the parts that fell off of it because he said there's probably a really long wait time for these parts, so I might as well take everything.
yeah. Oh wow, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I mean, I should point out it's not supposed to do that. Oh, rocket science.
Yeah. So and they are nice when you really start looking at them with the glass T tops and all the roofs come off, and uh, I think it's going to be a really nice vehicle once I ever get my hands on one. Um, that's not in white, of course. We're gonna have to all pick out a color together. Maybe I'll do
Yeah.
a special episode when it comes time to place my order.
And they also look nicer when you don't crash them.
Oh
I
yeah, they
like how
do.
his passenger is in absolute terror,
Oh yeah,
and then he justifies why.
yeah.
Oh, that's
I
gonna leave a
I
seatbelt
will
right.
tell you something. That thumbnail that he has
Mhm.
is heavily edited.
Yeah,
Be, because if you look at the damage, like if you look at like the 545 mark, um, all that damage that they're showing on that thumbnail is not actually accurate.
yeah, yeah. Clickbait.
Yeah,
I have to I have to drift ever so slightly in that direction because it works, unfortunately, and people don't punish you for it.
yeah. Sometimes they do, but sometimes you get a lot of clicks, and that's what you're trying to do. I'm getting eaten by a snake. Well, it's really just a wire, but
Scott says, good news though, he only probably has 71 more payments left on the Hummer.
no, I think he's got 72 because
There's 72
he
left.
had 9 miles on it. I don't think he made his first payment. Just saying, odds are slim. So anyway, we're getting ready to wrap it up. So I want to thank all of my Patreons for being as wonderful as you are. If you guys are even on here, I think some of you are. So I want to thank you guys for showing up, being one of the 27 to be a viewer in tonight's show.
Well, I got you whooped handily there. I'm at 29
Oh,
concurrent at the moment.
didn't I tell you last week you always have two more than me?
Hmm. Hmm. That's we shall maintain our practice of testing that theory. And of course, thanks to my patrons, we do have a couple minutes left. If anybody's got some last minute questions they want to sneak in, let's see. If you're going to be jumping ditches, you need to be being chased by Sheriff Roscoe Pico Drink.
Did you actually do that? Oh my god, that was good. Yeah, I can't even do that. I can't make my mouth make that noise. That was really good. Um,
Uh,
might change my text messaging sound to that what you just did.
mhm. Mhm.
Maybe when I
Nice.
get my Hummer, I'll paint it orange and put a 01 on the side.
Yeah, and what did you put on the roof again? I don't remember.
It's a glass roof, so nothing's going on the top.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah,
That's even better.
yeah. I'm gonna just stay clear of that.
Dodge a bullet there.
Yeah.
Don't have to make anyone upset.
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Don't forget to I guess subscribe to Bear's channel. I guess. I don't know.
Don't forget to unsubscribe for Brian's for saying whatever he just said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
When
Does
our
he
first
want
10 shows, remember our first 10 shows? We would go look and go, oh, I lost 2 subs today.
Yeah. That's the reason this is on the second channel.
Yeah.
Because you guys love us And we're not for everyone. We're an acquired taste.
Oh yeah.
The General Motors Lee. General Motors, General Lee. Yeah.
Yup.
It's generally heavy. Let's see. Yeah, so thanks everybody for hanging out and all that good stuff. I got some errands to run. Gotta do a couple things.
All right.
Let's-
Well, we're out of here then. Thanks everyone. Good seeing y'all.
Thank you, Bear.